So the village was actually founded in 1980 by a group of volunteers. So every single building that is here was actually brought to the site. So apart from Bell House, which is the green one over there, every single building that you see was volunteers, blood, sweat and tears of volunteers. So we're very reliant on our massive, we've got 109 volunteers that work for us and help us, and they literally put this place together. So the story that we're currently telling is that of the Fencibles. So the Fencibles arrived in 1847, and they there was 4 different settlements that they settled in, and Howick was one of them. So when the Fencibles arrived, and I'll explain what a Fencible was. A Fencible was actually a soldier, so a soldier settler who had to be under the age of 48. Most of them had children, but they had seen military action, but they were retired. So they were asked by Governor Grey, who was the governor of Auckland at the time. He asked Queen Victoria to send over some troops, and that's who she sent. But they obviously became our ancestors, and they're obviously a big part of our history, and a story that maybe not that many people know. So when these soldiers arrived, they were promised a cottage that would look like this. However, they often ended up sleeping in a tent or one of these raupos here. So they actually got quite a different the actual reality of what they ended up living in was quite different. And if you go into one of the tent or the raupo, it's a dirt floor. Obviously there were cockroaches that could fall on your head, so it was a very quite brutal existence, and after 7 years of continuous service, they would get to own the cottage. They finally got one, and also 7 acres of land. So you'll see it's really, really tiny. Yeah, so this would have been 2 families were living right next door to each other. So come in. Yeah. Oh yeah, it still probably hasn't changed. So this is, as you see, this is one of the double walled cottages, and this was a family that was the Broidies who lived in here. So one side of the house had 6 children, and the other side of the house, the McDaniels, had 1 child. So can you imagine how unpopular this side of the house would have been? Because we can just undo that.
I'm hungry.
But also upstairs in the loft, which we can't go up for health and safety reasons, but that's where all of the children would have slept up there. And handy way of storing your tools.
Very clever.
Got to make sure you do it right.
Yeah. And you know, there's obviously the hanging pukeko, so using every they even use the feathers to stuff pillows. So the idea of zero waste is not a new concept. I'll take you onto this one, although I'm always scared to go into this one. Just feel like there's going to be a lot of, but this is quite interesting because it just shows you what it would be like with nothing in it, and obviously you can see all the layers of paper and wallpaper, and which is really lovely. So we've got an artist at the moment who has done an exhibition, and all of her works are about the layers of history and the different wallpapers, and you can see that this would be the other side of the cottage. So this is the
special treatment for reserve this.
we have looked into it. It's really expensive to conserve the wallpaper, so we have looked into it.
It might be good to keep.
Yeah, exactly, because it's quite beautiful.
It's the history.
Yeah, and it's the history, like you say. And of course, a lot of people couldn't afford, wallpaper, so they'd have to cover their walls in newspaper as well. So. one of my friends actually is a descendant of Owen Lynch, who used to run this pub in Howick. So it's really funny when she. But come and have a look at this because it's quite cute. Yeah, so the pubs used to open at like 6 a.m. in the morning and close at 10 p.m. and
10
then
p.m.
yeah, and then obviously they used to have a drink that was very, very, you know, the beer was a lot stronger than sort of the beer that we drink now, and the portions were a lot bigger than they are now as well. So, but we've set this up obviously like a little pub. So when we have our Meet the Villagers days, we'll often sell not alcohol but drinks and things in here, and so it's quite a nice, yeah, it's quite a cool atmosphere, and you can play games and yeah.
Back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, so Owen Lynch used to run this pub, and yeah, the Howick Arms, yeah, and he very much prospered. He had a prosperous life because of, you know, selling alcohol. They drank a lot of alcohol. Yeah, yeah. It's nothing new.
19. Are
Yeah.
there many travelers here from
Yeah,
overseas?
absolutely. So before COVID-19, yeah, we had 45% of our audience was tourists. So we've really taken a hit there. I'll show you this little general store because it's quite sweet as well.
글로벌 코리안
더 그레이트 챌린지
파이팅!
여러분을 기다립니다.